Greetings, friends. I am Joseph, son of Jacob, a name perhaps whispered in your families across the ages. I have lived a life woven with threads of joy and sorrow, betrayal and triumph. And today, I wish to share with you a story etched into my very being, a story of forgiveness. It began, as many stories do, with family. My father, Jacob, loved me, perhaps more than my 11 brothers. And he showed it. He gifted me a beautiful coat, a coat of many colors, a symbol of his favor. Now imagine that. 11 brothers, toiling in the fields, while I, the favored one, walked around in a vibrant garment that screamed of privilege. You can imagine how that went down. Dead, 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 dead. Envy, my friends, is a venomous serpent. It slithered into the hearts of my brothers, twisting their affection into bitter resentment. They saw not a brother, but a threat. They saw not love, but favoritism. And they began to despise me. Then came the dreams. Dreams that painted a future where they, my older, stronger brothers, would bow down to me. I, in my youthful innocence, shared these dreams. Oh, the folly of youth! I was blind to the fire I was stoking. I did not understand the depth of their hatred. Dead, 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 dead. One day, my father sent me to check on them as they tended the flocks in Dothan. As I approached, I saw them huddled together, their faces dark and conspiratorial. From afar, I could sense the malice radiating off of them. "Here comes the dreamer," one of them sneered. Their initial plan was to kill me, to silence the dreams, to erase me from their lives. Reuben, my eldest brother, with a flicker of humanity still burning within him, pleaded with them to spare my life. He convinced them to cast me into a pit instead, hoping perhaps to rescue me later. Dead, 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 dead. Imagine the darkness of that pit, the cold, damp earth, the utter despair. Abandoned by those who should have loved and protected me. I cried out, begged for mercy, but their hearts were hardened. While I languished in the pit, a caravan of Ishmaelites passed by, heading to Egypt. Judah, another of my brothers, suggested selling me into slavery. It was a cruel act, driven by greed and a desire to be rid of me, but it spared my life. They pulled me from the pit, indifferent to my pleas, and sold me for 20 pieces of silver. Dead, 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 dead. They then took my coat, the coat of many colors, and dipped it in goat's blood. They brought it back to my father Jacob, and told him I had been devoured by a wild animal. The grief, oh, the grief that ripped through my father's heart! I can only imagine the torment he endured, believing his beloved son was dead. Meanwhile, I was taken to Egypt, a land of strange customs and unfamiliar tongues. I was sold to Potiphar, the captain of Pharaoh's guard. I served him faithfully, and the Lord blessed my efforts. Potiphar recognized my integrity and placed me in charge of his entire household. But even in Egypt, my trials were not over. Potiphar's wife falsely accused me of a crime I did not commit. I was thrown into prison, unjustly condemned. Dead, 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 dead. Yet, even in the darkness of the prison, the Lord was with me. He gave me the ability to interpret dreams. And through this gift, I rose from the depths of despair. I interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh, foretelling 7 years of abundance, followed by 7 years of famine. Pharaoh, recognizing the wisdom and foresight I possessed, appointed me as governor of all of Egypt. I was second only to Pharaoh himself, responsible for preparing the land for the coming famine. And then the famine came. As predicted, it ravaged the land, not just Egypt, but also Canaan, where my family lived. My brothers, desperate for food, traveled to Egypt to buy grain. They stood before me, not knowing who I was, bowing down as I had dreamed so many years before. Dead, 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 dead. Here, my friends, is where the story truly turns. I recognized them, of course. The men who had betrayed me, who had cast me into the pit, who had sold me into slavery, could have exacted my revenge. I could have punished them for their cruelty. I had the power to do so. But I did not. Instead, I tested them. I wanted to see if they had changed, if they were still the same men who had hated me so fiercely. And through their